Now, on last night's programme, we went back to some of the towns and villages flooded by Storm Babette exactly a year ago. Tonight, we're looking at how we can prevent flooding happening in the first place, particularly on new estates and particularly with so-called natural drainage systems. Mosmi Bakshi has been looking at 3 different projects, big and small.
Autumn has been, in parts, miserable for much of the region. Businesses and homes flooded, roads closed not for days but weeks. And with wet weather events likely to become more and more common, can we do anything about it? Yards away from the River Cam is what looks like a flower bed. But this rain garden is actually a simple piece of engineering. These cuts, coaxing standing water off the streets and into these deep, flower-filled trenches.
It makes a difference in several ways. We think that it has a capacity of taking about 6,000 litres of water. There is a problem with the drainage here. There is a maintenance issue, which means that during periods of really hard rainfall, the water will actually come out of the drains onto the road. But these rain gardens will take that rainfall, take that runoff and put it into the ground.
It's simple, clever and cheap and helps keep the older houses on this road dry. But it's not enough, especially in and around Cambridge, where new homes can't be built quickly enough. But that means concrete, brick, stone, hard, impermeable surfaces where water can build up. So enter the Sustainable Drainage System, or SuDS for short.
The pond itself is performing such a valuable function. The rainwater that's coming off the development is ending up in this basin, and it's actually providing really valuable storage for water. When it rains, the water will all end up here and it will be held here so that it doesn't cause flooding elsewhere.
Once completed, 6,500 homes will be built on this former barracks in Waterbeach. Lakes, rainwater harvesting, woodland planting will all help keep floodwater away. But given changing weather patterns, can it keep up?
Climate change is accelerating. The factor of safety that we were using 10, 20 years ago when we were designing sites that were being built over the last decade or so, those have a 20% factor of safety for climate change. Now we're designing for a 40% factor for climate change. So that's a huge difference.
Many of the SuDS are already working at what's been described as the greenest new town in Britain. Eddington has 1,800 homes, 3,000 more are currently being proposed.
The greenery here is doing a lot of engineering as well, and it's not what people would expect to see, but it is helping us prevent that flooding.
Here, attenuation is the name of the game, slowing the flow of water by using gardens, lagoons and ditches.
We've got around 150 hectares of land here that we're working with, and about a third to 40% of that is going to remain as permanent open green space. So in the final master plan, there is lots of green space for people to enjoy and for biodiversity and for putting things like ponds and streams and water attenuation in. So the buildings are doing the work with both blue and green roofs, slowing that water down before it gets to our landscape elements.
So have we future-proofed ourselves against our homes being flooded? Well, if you live on a new build estate like this, maybe. But it's estimated that 1 in 13 new homes have been built on a floodplain without an adequate plan. And despite the previous government considering compelling planners to put in sustainable drainage systems, currently there's no legal requirement.
So will we ever see pictures like this again? Almost certainly. The challenge is to put in as many of these new drainage systems around older houses, and that means spending money. Mosmi Bakshi, BBC Look East.